Mrs. Crime, Mr. Wade, bringing you the stories. Stay tuned for a lot more.
What started as a welfare check on Northeast 92nd Street in Vancouver Sunday afternoon turned into a crime scene investigation by Sunday night.
In the Orchards location in Vancouver, Washington, a U.S. Navy veteran shot and killed his wife of more than 30 years, his 2 daughters, and his brother in Vancouver, Washington on a very gloomy Sunday.
Lily Lewis says she and her family heard screams around 2:40 in the afternoon, but investigators say there was no communication coming from in or around the home.
Mr. Wade here. I'm over here in the Orchids in Vancouver, Washington, and about to do a video for you guys on a murder. Now, what happened here was there's a guy named Mr. Stewart. He was 64 years old. And apparently this neighborhood here is a pretty nice neighborhood. Me and Mrs. Crime heard about this story about a couple months ago. So we decided to bring you guys this story. It's a rainy day out here, so we drove out here to give you guys this short story. It's a guy named Stewart. Stewart is a guy that was 64 years old, and he was apparently going through some mental things, I guess, as they say, stated in medical records. Going through some mental things, and he did some things that showed him to be unstable. Now, from what I read, I'll put more on here, he went from different houses of helping family out. I guess his dad lost his second wife, and he went to go help his dad out. So eventually he ended up going to where his wife, 2 daughters, and his brother or brother-in-law. So apparently he ended up doing the worst, became stressed out, overworked, put more on this story. And he ended up texting somebody that he knows. He texts somebody to let them know that, hey, I'm going through some things. Apparently, it was not done. Apparently, the person found out about the text later on in the game.
Sergeant Chris Skidmore explains the suspect sent a text to a relative near Seattle Sunday morning that he had harmed other people in the house.
Okay, so basically, the person that he texts ended up getting the text later on after everything had took place. Now, what took place? Well, I'll break it down to you. Mr. Wade will break it down to what took place. So what took place was that he ended up murdering his wife, murdering his 2 daughters, and eventually ended up murdering his brother or brother-in-law, and committed suicide himself. So they called that a suicide murder attempt. Successful, right? Bad part is that when the person he texts got the text about him about to cause harm to his family, when it got out there, no one answered. So of course, SWAT team was activated, police came out, the SWAT team busted the windows out of the house, and they made a drone fly inside the place. So the drone came into the place and found the bodies laid out in the house.
The Clark County Sheriff's Office telling us the suspect is believed to be 64-year-old Stuart K. Rouse. The victims have been identified as his wife, Christina, their 2 adult daughters, Christina and Melissa, and the shooter's adult brother, Ronald. Now, this
So this is the house where Stewart took his wife, 2 daughters, and his brother or brother-in-law right here. This is the location. The news came out, SWAT team came out. They did a lot to this house right here.
Deputies arrived and tried to contact people in the home but could not. A SWAT team was called in, and deputies also used a drone to enter the home, where 5 people were found dead, including the suspect, who deputies believe used a gun. There is no threat to the public, and the sheriff's office.
So they came out, activated the SWAT team, and they ended up putting a drone inside the house, and they saw the bodies laid out. And they found, of course, the main culprit laid out as well. So they called it a murder attempt suicide. That's the title. But like you say, you never know what's going on in somebody's mind about what could happen, what a person can decide to do. If they're not happy with themselves, they'll take out everybody else around them, family or not, as we've been seeing in these videos and stories that me and Mrs. Crime bring to you guys. So it's a decent neighborhood here, and me and Mrs. Crime thought we'll come here and give you guys a story. Everything that's included in the story is all about what happened here. Wow. A lot goes on that we know nothing about inside of a home. So, this place here is a beautiful place, but just knowing that things could happen like that. Now, this took place in December of last year. We saw the media circulated that on the news, but we never thought about coming out here and giving you guys a story. But we decided to give you guys a story and hope you guys liked it. So if you haven't subscribed to Tombstone and Whispers, subscribe, hit that like button. A lot more coming from Tombstone Whispers. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. Stay tuned for a lot more unfortunate stories.